see Twitter headquarters, and they showed me they have a system called Jira, where you have your own account. I had my account, and they would have sort of marks on my account for like what the restrictions were. Literally, it said the words "Trends Blacklist." That Trends Blacklist, I don't believe Twitter put in place on its own. I believe that was the result of the American federal government essentially asking Twitter executives to suppress.
And
now, why do I
did you say trends, Trends, or trans?
Trends, Trends.
Okay, trends.
Blacklist.
Yeah, okay, trends blacklist. Got it. Yeah. So did that mean you couldn't
prevent my
trend?
tweets from trending?
Right. Got it.
Correct.
Got it. So that meant you couldn't go viral, essentially, anything that you did.
Yeah. That's right.
Right.
Like
How
my,
sneaky.
My followers
and you think that there was collusion between Twitter and the federal government, and this would be the public health bureaucracy, essentially, designed to stop you from being able to communicate your expertise. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
Your expertise.
So I think a lot of governments did this, but certainly the American government did this. They adopted this strategy of limiting misinformation in social media settings.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they did that, the way they did that is they garnered the cooperation of social media companies by essentially by threat, right? If you don't do this, we're gonna regulate you out of existence.
Yeah.
That started with this like national security issues around election issues and national security issues, but I think it bled over into this pandemic management.
Russia collusion, conspiracy, fraud.
Yeah. And so like it bled over into like communication about health risks and COVID. Right. And so like the Surgeon General of the United States had an initiative where he wanted to root out information. Tony Fauci has an email with Mark Zuckerberg from the very beginning of the pandemic, where Zuckerberg essentially offers him, it's redacted, but from the context, it's pretty clear, some capacity to limit what you can post, people can post on Facebook, to limit misinformation. The social media companies were in regular contact with the federal government, receiving instructions about what to suppress and in many cases who to suppress.
Yep.
Regarding specifically, information about COVID, and I know this because I'm part of a lawsuit that the Missouri and Louisiana Attorney General's offices have brought against the Biden administration.
Yeah, right.
And that lawsuit is uncovered. We deposed Tony Fauci. We deposed. I think Jen Psaki is going to be deposed. A whole bunch of like very prominent figures in the.
When is this going to unfold?
It's been going on for like 9 months now. I mean, hopefully we'll get some decision in this coming year. I'm actually quite hopeful about this because what we've uncovered.
Have they testified? Have Fauci and Psaki testified yet?
Fauci has. I don't know yet if we had Psaki in yet, but there was the judges granted us the ability to depose 10 major figures inside the Biden administration, including the FBI agents and others. It's revealed a vast censorship enterprise.
Yeah. Well, we should also define for everybody who's listening and watching what fascism means technically. So fascist means to bind together. And the fascist ethos is something like unity of corporation, government, and media at the highest levels of function. And so the idea is essentially that a triumvirate acting as a unity at those high levels can be extraordinarily efficient, and if it's benevolent, there's the rub, then it can march forward, with unparalleled success. And you get people like our appalling Prime Minister admiring the CCP, for example, for its ability to move forward on the environmental front without paying attention to such niceties as, let's say, Parliament and public opinion. And that's that delusion of fascist efficiency. And the thing about United Systems is they can move very, very quickly when they need to, and that's well and good if they're moving in the right direction. But the right direction is hard to determine, and if they're moving in the wrong direction, then God help us all. And this collusion between the social media companies and the security apparatus and the broader media world, which is still occurring because they won't cover the Twitter files, is fascist in the highest order. And it's definitely a threat to the integrity of, well, I would say proper governance worldwide, but certainly proper governance within the United States. It's appalling beyond belief. I think part of the reason the public hasn't woken up to it, this is certainly true in Canada. Canadians would rather believe, for example, that the trucker convoy was run by MAGA-inspired American Republicans who wanted to destabilize Canadian democracy, which is what our bloody prime minister told them. They would actually—
Jordan, they had bouncy houses. They had bouncy houses for kids. I mean, they had like Sikh music, and I mean, it was like—
Well, there's a huge coterie of Sikh truckers in Canada. Yeah, well, Canadians would rather believe that, though, that this was a conspiratorial enterprise motivated really by and funded by MAGA Americans. This is the Canadian narrative. Most Canadians still believe that, 51%. And the reason they still believe that is because it's easier to believe that than it is to believe that you can't, that your leaders, Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, are compromised entirely by their globalist utopian agenda and lying about absolutely everything, and that you can't trust the legacy media anymore. And Canadians just, they're not capable of swallowing that bitter pill. And like, I can understand why, you know, in our country and in yours too, to a large degree, the fundamental institutions have been reasonably trustworthy for a long time. And then to understand that, no, you have to now go out and you have to go and ferret out the truth, and that there are conspiracy-like actions proceeding on all sorts of domains. It's like, well, it's no wonder people can't go there with ease.
Yeah, I don't want to believe it either.
Well, right.
I mean, until I see it, I'm gonna assume the best of people. But when you see the federal government acting in this way, in direct violation of fundamental commitments to civil rights, like free speech, and you know, it's just there in emails in black and white, where, and you know, the way that they convey it, it's as if it's so obvious that they're doing the right thing. Oh yeah, we just suppressed this because we didn't want people to be harmed by this bad information. Well, how do you know this information is bad?
Well, this is the question. Like, I now virtually instantly distrust anyone who uses the word misinformation or the word disinformation. It's like, I see you think there's some gold standard by which factual information can be revealed, that its validity can be revealed. That's just self-evident. You can set up some fact-finding committee that can just differentiate between the true facts and the false facts. It's like, why do we need the scientific enterprise then if it's so bloody obvious? And why is there political discussion? Well, no, there's misinformation, and we need committees to deal with it and to suppress it, which they certainly did at Twitter.
Jordan,